Hi, my name's Paul Cresswell. Welcome to Paul's Tackle Reviews. The purpose of this YouTube channel is to give you some real life reviews of tackle that's been used by an angler for some time. I'm not a sponsored angler. It won't be the glossy videos, cutaway shots and the pristine gear. The gear I use and I review has been out on the bank and I'm going to give you my views on it. Three things to say about all my reviews that I always say. I review stuff that I use and therefore I review stuff that I like. I wouldn't use it if I didn't like it. I'll be honest, I've got no affiliation with any manufacturer or any shops. I use stuff from all manufacturers and I try and use the best thing that's out there for any particular job. And finally, and this is really important, just because it works for me doesn't mean it's going to work for you. We all have our own preferences, our own setups, the way we like things, our own luggage, whatever. So take what I'm saying, think about it, and then see whether it will work for you. Today I've got the Guru Fusion X case, their top kit case, and I've had this now a year. They are £90 in the shops. They came out just before Christmas last year and Guru did well. There was plenty of them out there. People could get hold of them. I think during 2020 COVID had issues and they have been in short supply. But I know that if you go on eBay now and type it in, I'm not saying you should buy off eBay, but there's loads out there. All the big players have got these in stock, so you should be able to get one. I think looking after top kits is really important. I've got an awful lot of top kits I've built up over the years. A top kit's going to be anything from 30 quid to 100 quid. So you need to look after your gear, and this is what I carry my gear in now, this Guru Fusion case. Now Guru as a brand, it seems to prompt a lot of debate, especially around the orange colour. On the forum I'm on, maggotdrowning.com, there's always a big debate. I think a lot of it's tongue-in-cheek, and the orange branding. In terms of orange branding, just to be clear, the two tags that operate the zips are orange, everything else is black that's on here today. So looking after top kits, and before any kind of storage came into existence, I used to keep them in tubes, and you'd maybe get 4, 5, 6 at a push inside a tube. That was okay, but you tended to have to get them all out to identify the one you wanted. And the tubes, if you're carrying a lot of top kits, can take up a lot of room in your hold all as well. I've also got the 5 of the single length shallow kits that are 1.8 meters, and I used to store them inside extensions or inside tubes, but inevitably they'd end up getting tangled and you could never find the one you wanted, and I never thought that was good. So when I moved off tubes initially, I got something called the Drennan kit tube, and this here is semi-reinforced, and I think it gives good protection, and it's 1.60 meters, which is great for carrying two-piece kits, but like I say, carrying those 1.8 meter long single shallow kits that we all seem to have now, you can't do that within there. Now I've got a load of my spare kits in here, and you can see they're in, and they're not really rammed tight. I've got some pointing that way, some kind of pointing down. I've got 9 kits in there. I think you could get a couple more in. I think obviously it depends what kind of pole you've got. I use a Mava and a Browning, and their top kits are 22mm at the base, so they're probably as wide as you can get. If you're using maybe a Preston or a Daiwa, they might be 18mm, so obviously they take up less space. But I think I've got 9 in there, could get a couple more easy, probably 12 in there, and I think that's a really good way of carrying two-piece top kits. As you can see, really good protection, nothing damaged there. And I still use that now. If I'm going to a venue, maybe in winter, where I'm not going to use shallow kits, I'll just take what I need in that. It weighs nothing, very easy to carry. They're around 30 quid, and if you've just got two-piece top kits, I think that isn't much more really than one tube kind of width, but it's also really easy to see what you've got in there. You can pick them out easily and see the elastics as well. So we've got the Guru, and the external dimensions, it's around 191 at the very most. We've got 15 at the widest, and we've got around 12 deep. Obviously if you've got a bit more in, it might be a little bit deeper, but I've got this with stuff in at the minute. It has a handle that comes in 2 bits, and hopefully I can do this. You can kind of stick them together and carry it as a handle. To be honest, I never use the handle, I just have it in my hold all. It's plastic. It's got quite a strong seam that I would say is waterproof, but inevitably whenever you get zips, waterproofing is going to be compromised, and I've had this out on really wet days and water will get in through the zips. If it's really wet, I tend to put it on the ground and put my hold all, my rod hold all on top. But what I will say is, if you get it home and there's water in there, you just stand it up, it dries in no time whatsoever. I think it's about as waterproof as anybody's going to make something that's going to need a zip and we're going to have access. Waterproof zips would put the cost up, and I think nobody would buy it. I would say it's easy to clean. I'm not one for pristine gear, but when there's a build up of mud, I give it a wipe. There's a few bits of mud on it there. It's going to pick stuff up. What I will say is, when you use this, you have to take it out of your hold all fully, and then you unzip it and then access the contents. So what I'm really saying is, you can't just unzip the top and snake your hand in and pull out the bits you want and then zip it back up. You've got to have both zips going beyond there, so both zips on the back so you can access everything. But that, as you can see, it's really well organized, and when I get to the bank I get this out and then pick what I'm going to use. So what have I got in here? And I think I've got 8 top kits in that side, and I could easily get a few more, and I've got them all with the base there and the narrow end there, and you could top and tail them and put them the other way, and I think I could get another 3 or 4 in there, 11, 12 in each side. That would be quite possible. So you can see the kind of capacity you've got. I tend to carry 8 or 9 in that side, and then swap out if I'm going heavy fishing and any of my margin stuff, or I'm going on a silvers match and I want it that way. On this side I've got my full margin pole, my Browning Zeiton, so I've got that in there. Try not to break anything. I've got another top kit and my cupping kit. There. And then I've got my 5 shallow kits, and I leave rigs on the shallow kits, and that's part of the problem why putting them in a couple of tubes, they tend to rattle together and get tangled. All of my shallow kits, I've got the excellent Preston rig hookups on there, and just under slight tension, so I'm not putting it in the bottom of there and having it a load of elastic pre-stretched, and that's secure, that isn't going anywhere, and that's how I store my gear. So I've got 5 of those, 2 top kits, me margin bowl in there, and I've still got a bit of room. I can put a few more kits in there, so you can see the kind of capacity that we're talking about here. So at the bottom we've got this kind of mesh, and I'll put a photo there showing the mesh and the elasticated bit to hold them at the bottom. In the middle we've got another elasticated on both sides, and at the top we've also got an elasticated, but that never really comes into play because my top kits don't go far enough, and to be honest I don't even put my shallow kits behind there. I just use the middle one and the bottom one. The interior feel of this, it's kind of a felt kind of material, so it's very kind and soft to your kits, and I think it offers really good protection. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to stop the video, and I'm going to try and put my pole in there in full, and then you can see whether you could just take this if you were going fishing and maybe only had half a dozen kits, I don't know. So I'll come back with that in there. Hi, welcome back. So what have I done now? I've put in there, I've got my 13 metre pole and my 14.5 metre extension. Obviously it depends on which brand of pole. Some might have 14.5 and a 16 extension. I rarely take my 16 extension, to be honest, only a couple of places I go, but that's what I've got in there. And I've also got my Drennan Acolyte Carp landing net handle, which is 1.8 metres long, and that's sat in there comfortably. And I could probably put another couple of top kits there. I've got my 2 dolly butts there, one inside the other, and I've got a total of 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and I've just put 7 normal kits, but obviously I could put the F1 shallow kits in there if I wanted. So realistically you could go fishing with this, and that's all you need to take to be pretty much sorted if you knew where you were going and what you were going to be doing with your top kit. So again, really good piece of kit. I've just weighed it while it was empty, and it's difficult to weigh. It's around 1.7 kilos for anyone that's interested. What you will see is I've zipped it up down to there, and that's what I do. I take the top zip and put it to there, and you can put the bottom zip, that zip round, but I don't bother. If you've got both zips there, it isn't going to open, nothing's going to damage in there, and I just find it easier than having the 2 zips. I think the bottom zip is a little bit stiffer and harder to get round, but I just do it like that, get to the bank, take that zip right the way up and take it round the corner, and then it all opens and I've got everything there, all safe, all secure. So probably I could manage with this and my kit tube if I wanted to take tons of kits with me. And on occasion I've been for a couple of light sessions and I have just put the bowl in and a few kits and used that instead of my hold all. Very handy that it fits my landing net handle in. I think, to summarise, I think it's a really well made, thought out piece of kit, and at £90 I think it's a good price. Now if we look at the alternatives out there, and really alternatives where you can put your 1.8 metre one piece kits in, then I don't think there's that much out there. I have once seen the Milo one, which looks very similar, and a lot of people on forums like to say, oh, the Milo's the best one. You try and get an older one. They've been out for 5-6 years, and I think Fisherman's Friend used to do them, but they're now part of Angling Direct. I can't find them on the internet to buy, the Milo ones, or certainly you probably want to have a look and see what you think of them. The Preston do one for top kits. You wouldn't get any big sections in, you wouldn't get my margin pole in. I have seen theirs, and I think it's all about keeping the top kit separate, and as a result it's quite a large footprint as well, whereas I'm quite happy with my top kits like that. If I'm going to put a rig on my top kit, I'll just put it on a winder and then just put a little loop on and keep it on there, so I can still carry rigs on winders, but I don't think that's a particularly big issue. Map do one, and there is another Drennan one, but neither of those are really long enough. They're for carrying kits that are two-piece kits folded up. I've seen people talk about a Cresta one. Again, struggled to see any pictures or see anything online about it, or get any reviews. And I think the Cresta one is more like a box, and I'd be interested to have a look, but at £140 that's a sizable investment to buy blind. I think Daiwa do one just for the long F1 top kits, which would be another way of doing it. So you could have one for those and then maybe have the Drennan just for your two-piece kits. But I don't think there's much to compare with this in terms of availability and the way it's configured. That's today's review. Thanks very much for watching. This is the third video, so the previous ones are the Matrix extending side tray, and I did a review of my 2 landing net handles, one of which I've got there. There's going to be 2 more videos coming up, and they are the Mosella EVA Trolley Bag, and I'm looking at the Matrix versus the EVA Bait Brolly in the video after. So if you want to hit subscribe, you'll get automatically notified of those. Feel free to leave any comments or any views that you have in the box below. That will be great. Hit like if you like the video. Thanks very much for watching. Tight lines.